Hello and welcome to coverage of Round 5 here at Grand Prix Dallas-Fort Worth. Maria Bartholdi in the booth, joined by Kenji Igashira, Ben Stark there on the left side of your screen, versus Brian Branduin, both currently 4-0 undefeated, starting out their tournament here at Dominaria Limited. BBD kicks things off with a Voltaic Servant. Ben Stark, green and black mana in play, pass the turn back over to BBD. Gets in for one. Ben Stark down to 19, just black and white. In play for Brian Branduin. Black Blade Reforged is the play, though, which is a pretty strong card, but relies heavily on historic or legendary cards in your deck. Deathbloom Thallid here is the play for Ben Stark as we get underway. BBD has a third color of land, Esper colors, and that's a pretty good one. It's a Weatherlight.
Yeah, so Brian doesn't have another creature that can crew the Weatherlight right now, but if that Weatherlight does get crewed, you can attach the Black Blade to it for only 3 mana and have a very large flyer.
A bolt with a sword? It's terrifying.
Ben has a little bit of time. Not entirely likely that Brian's able to play out a creature that can crew and also have the 3 mana to equip, but yikes.
Wow, there's a look at the Black Blade Reforged. If you equip a legendary creature, just costs 3. However, if you don't have one, it's 7. Gets +1/+1 for each land you control. 3 colors here for Brian Branduin. 3 as well for Ben Stark.
It looks like Brian doesn't actually have that many legendary creatures, although that's...
Well, there's one.
Holy moly, one of them. And you know what? That pumps up the Weatherlight, too, so it's not going to just be a 4/5 flyer.
This is nasty. Arvad the Cursed is going to hop in the Skyboat. Gets in for 4.
6 now.
6, excuse me. And then here we're going to look at the top 5.
Holy moly. This is... Wow.
Let's find another
legendary
one. Baird, Steward of Argive there, is the reveal for BBD. Meanwhile, Ben Stark is going to have to settle for a dark bargain here to see if he can find some way to...
He's going to need the darkest of bargains to come back from this because...
This is some hot nonsense.
Brian has a very hard curve to beat. I mean, what do you take care of, right? Arvad's amazing here. The Blade is still going to be amazing if BBD can find 2 more lands. The Weatherlight's obviously a huge problem and just keeps digging for more answers. Like, wow. What a start from Brian here. We can see why he is... Well, I guess he probably had 3 buys, but he won his first match that he actually played.
All right, here we go. Down goes the Voltaic Servant. Yeah, this isn't exactly the most potent Eldest Reborn we've ever seen.
I mean, it's a start. If Ben doesn't take too much damage here and can find a removal spell for Arvad, he can eventually get the Arvad back from the graveyard with the Eldest Reborn, but I think things might be too late here. He's already committed to taking 6 damage this turn. Well, actually, is he just dead on board?
Equip.
Yeah.
Gets +2/+2.
And I mean, this
and
is
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, +6/+6 from the Blade.
Ay. That's 12 damage right there. Was that turn 6? Did he just go turn 5 Arvad, turn 6 crew, and yowza.
Wow. Brian Branduin taking down Game 1 versus Ben Stark in just epic style, or should I say legendary style. That was incredible.
That's not how you expect games in this format to go, but I suppose when you have Weatherlight, Arvad, and Black Blade, you know, in the first 5 turns, things can get out of hand rather quickly.
Yeah.
There's not much to say there. I mean, Ben's sideboard,
like,
if he has any, like, Broken Bonds, Invoke the Divine, he's definitely bringing those in. He saw 2 powerhouse artifacts.
Yeah, not much you can do off of that kind of draw from your opponent there.
No.
For Ben Stark. So each of them are playing 3 colors. Do we have any hint at what BBD might be splashing blue for, Kenji?
Let's take a look at his deck list here. Oh, how about a Planeswalker?
Ooh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yet to see him in action.
And I think that is the only... No, I could be wrong. Let's see. So he's running Teferi, Deep Freeze, Cold Water Snapper, and a Cloud Reader Sphinx as the blue splash.
Okay.
For fixing, he has...
Just good luck?
No, he's running the 4-6-8 land split. So 18 lands.
Ouch.
And just basics.
Wow.
4 islands.
Hard mode.
8 plains, 6 swamps.
Yeah, yet to see a Teferi in action yet today here at the Grand Prix. So that'll be pretty exciting if he manages to be able to stick it.
Marshall and PV got to watch one in action.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, in round 3, I believe.
Lucky. Well, we'll see if we get a chance here.
I don't think it survived very long for what it's worth.
This round. Most of the players we've seen as well have been running 3 colors. Is that emblematic, do you think, of just how good the fixing is in green, or perhaps just the power level can be potentially so high if you run 3 colors?
Yeah, it's more about the power level than the fixing. I mean, obviously you have good fixing cards like Navigator's No, I'm just kidding. Skittering Surveyor.
Almost got me there.
And if you're in green, you can't have those grow from the ashes. But for the most part, it's just power level. And, well, we didn't see the blue from Brian that game. Not that he needed it. His black and white was perfectly acceptable. Ben, on the other hand, splashing for 2 Blessed Light and a Seal Away. So he would have, I mean, if he had either of those, that would have been great versus what Brian had started with.
Little interesting tidbit here. Ben Stark has chosen to be on the draw this game.
Okay. I think that's good if you have a decent number of removal spells or you're trying to hit your fixing. Let me take a look at Ben's split. He's running 7-7-2, so 16 land in favor of Forest and Swamp, just 2 plains. He does have a Skittering Surveyor for fixing, as well as extra card draw, so he has like 2 Dark Bargains, which can find him those cards.
All right, well, he's going to take a mulligan here. Wasn't happy with his opening hand. Ben Stark, of course, 4 Grand Prix top 8s, win in Paris in 2011. 24 GP.
He's got a lot of GP top 8s.
Excuse me. There's a lot. There's a lot more than I said. Brian Brandun has 11 GP top 8s.
Okay.
We'll just call it a lot for Ben. Llanowar Scout here, turn 2 play.
Yeah, the Scout, not exactly the best creature ever printed. What it's best used for is just kind of blocking the early game, like getting yourself to the late game. As a 1/3 for 2 mana is fine in the format if you're looking to kind of stall, as plenty of 2-power creatures that it can block, but generally not so useful with the ability. Although if you do have a Tatiova, it's really good with Tat.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Just a Deathbloom Thallid there for BBD.
And we see Ben didn't even put a land on the battlefield at the end of turn. In fact, he's missing another land here. That's all right. At this point last game, Ben was almost dead. In fact, he was dead next turn.
Oof. There's Arvad the Cursed once again from BBD.
Looks like a Spore Swarm, I think.
Oh, Spore Swarm here.
Yeah.
Instant speed, create 3 Sapperling tokens.
And again, that card's fine. It didn't seem especially great versus Brian, but sometimes you just need those tokens. If he has any synergies, let's see. He has the Thallid Soothsayer. He also has the Omnivore. Okay, so some uses for the tokens beyond just being 3/1/1s.
Yeah, whenever I've played the Llanowar Scout, I've always just been like, well, maybe I'll put 1 land from my hand into play, and that's about it, if I'm lucky. But here we see some high-impact plays going on from Brian Brandun, who managed to stick a Black Blade Reforged and put it on Arvad the Cursed.
And that's 8 life that Brian gains in addition to just taking care of one of those tokens. Ben really needs to find a 5th land here. Okay, he does have it. Go. He might have a Blessed Light. Oh, no, he would have done that before damage, I'd imagine. Oh, he's killing the Thallid here. Okay, Eldest Reborn. He definitely has that.
Oh, yes, there we go. There it is. Beautiful. Eldest Reborn is going to send Arvad to the bin.
Yeah, great line of play there because, of course, the Blessed Light exiles the creature. Brian doesn't get the token from the 3/2, the Deathbloom Thallid. And with that, only 1 creature on the battlefield has to sack his Arvad.
That was sweet.
Yeah, very good. And now, Ben has a good creature to target in 2 turns once the Eldest Reborn fires off the last chapter of the saga.
Yeah, the Blessed Light was extremely important there. Mm-hmm. Because having somebody sack a Deathbloom Thallid doesn't feel so great.
Yeah, just a good sequence of events. He was looking ahead a few turns. No reason to fire off the Blessed Light on the Arvad. Was Brian just about to pass here?
Wow. Just passes back.
Yeah, versus some colors, you're a little bit scared when they just pass with mana, but this just could be another blessed light of, Brian's own. He discarded the Cold Water Snapper there. That's actually a really good target, too, for Ben to take. A 4/5 hexproof creature,
Which one do you want?
I think I'd probably take the Snapper next turn.
Really?
Depending on, a 4/5 hexproof is going to be better than a 3/3 Death Touch lifelink a lot of the time. Yeah, especially if Brian's just gumming up the board here. Now, this is really good for Brian because he's one land away from just hard equipping the Black Blade to any of those creatures, So
it doesn't really matter what creatures he has as long as he has some.
Correct. At this point, basically.
All right, here we go. Chapter 3 of The Eldest Reborn. What will Ben Stark read? Indeed, agrees with you, Kenji, takes a Cold Water Snapper.
Doesn't get much better than hexproof.
I agree. As you may know.
You're the Boggles player. I have nothing to say to you.
What do you play in Modern?
Storm.
Okay, well, look who's talking.
I have nothing to say to my opponents either.
Looks like a Yavimaya Sapherd here for Stark.
And that's pretty good. It's just 2 extra blockers for any creature that's equipped up with the blade. I mean, the Black Blade is winning the game right now on this current board, but it does take quite a bit of mana to equip, so if Brian doesn't have that 7th land...
Oh, there it is.
I mean, even if just equipping here, an attack's not that great because Ben has so many creatures that can block. Oh, and what a huge blowout!
Fungal Infection here from Ben Stark. Gets him another Sapperling and takes down that soldier token.
But more importantly, that just ate up 7 of Brian's mana.
Yeah, he just time walked him.
For 1 mana. Like, that's huge.
That was sick.
And now Ben still is going to have good attacks with the Cold Water Snapper. So this is the end of turn still. He put out another land with a Scout, cast down the 2/3, and now he can just bash and race. Oh my gosh.
Spore Crown Thallid here from Ben Stark. A Sapperling Lord, as it were, giving all of those tokens +1/+1, plus any fungus. That means the Sapherd is also getting +1/+1.
This is a 17 damage attack, if I'm counting correctly. Because the Sapherd also gets pumped, not just the Sapperlings. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 17. I'm at 4? Hello? Like,
wow, what a swing.
He would need Urza's Ruinous Blast, but he would also need a legendary creature or a Planeswalker. So, wow.
That was insane.
Nice.
Ben Stark, nicely done,
Very
tying
good
things
sequence
up.
from Ben.
Yeah, that was really cool. They don't call it the pro show for nothing.
Right. And a lot of times, he used that cast down on a 2/3. That doesn't seem very good, but in that position, he set up his game plan. He exiled the 3/2, Eldest Reborn, the Arvad. Used maybe a decent removal spell on a creature that you wouldn't normally want to, but he just went super wide and super hard.
That was really cool to see.
Yeah, well played.
Spore Crown Thallid there, kind of one of the MVPs of that match as well, along for that huge swing.
Yeah, it's funny. That's like, it's a 2-mana 2/2, but it can have such a profound impact on the game.
I found myself casting that little buddy down more than I maybe thought I would.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd rather have Slimefoot than the Spore Crown, but they're all obviously very good together as well.
Oh, yeah. So I'm curious to know what Ben might be bringing in from his board to deal with, like, for example, the Weatherlight or something that, or the Black Blade.
Yeah, we were talking about after game 1, if he had any extra, like, Broken Bonds or Invoke the Divines, he would certainly want to bring those in, given the number of good, relevant artifacts that he saw from Brian's side. But other than that, like, I wouldn't... He doesn't have too much to decide about going into game 3 after game 2 is finished. So
yeah, he went pretty fast there. He's ready to go.
Yeah, and that's something people have to, like, even I'm really bad at sideboarding. A lot of the times I just, kind of resubmit my decks frequently. But the sideboarded games are 2/3 of your games, Or
yeah,
oftentimes
that's true.
You're going to play more games with the sideboarded deck than you are with, the pre-sideboard. So.
And we were listening. I was listening earlier to Paulo and Marshall, and they were talking about Paulo saying the number one thing I think a lot of people could work on is properly sideboarding.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
You think to yourself, well, obviously, I'm going to bring in Broken Bond or Invoke the Divine, as you mentioned. But what else can I do that's maybe a little more subtle to counteract what my opponent's trying to do? And that could be as simple as bringing in 2/3s if they're playing a lot of 2/2s.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got a number of people. We've got our spotters down there in the feature match area letting us know what's going on with the matches. Another player down there choosing to be on the draw.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the formats in recent history anyways where people are going to choose to draw more than they play, or sometimes anyways. What I'm saying is you're going to draw more frequently in this format than you would in some other other formats that we've played recently. Maybe not more often than play still, but
Blood Tallow Candle is the first play of the game as we are underway here for game number 3 of this match, round 5, here at Dallas-Fort Worth.
Yeah, slow start from both players. Oh, and I think Brian might have missed a land there, and so did Ben.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
Brian missing his one of his main colors, black. Ben missing just a 4th mana. Is missing white, but that's not too much of an issue for him.
BBD has to discard there. And there's the Spore Crown Thallid.
In a world of no creatures, a 2/2s might be good enough.
Oh, Deep Freeze. That plant's getting chilly. Now an 0/4 wall defender. There's Thallid Soothsayer.
And now he can cash in that 0/4 wall for extra
Yeah,
card.
that's true.
Ooh, Teshar.
This is the first Teshar I've seen
in
action.
And Brian discarded that 2-drop, so now if he casts any historic spell, he doesn't get the kicker ability from Kaligos Skin Witch, but at least he gets something back.
Right. CMC 3 or less.
Oof.
Wow.
And this is, just unfortunate for Brian missing his black mana and Ben getting out of the stumble that he had. Now with one more land, Ben's going to be able to use the candle to kill basically anything that Brian casts here.
There's that Icy Manipulator.
Obviously a very good one.
Yeah, I see an Eviscerate sadly sitting at the front of BBD's hand. Look there at Blood Tallow Candle.
Did you just say, I see an Eviscerate? Was that intentional?
It wasn't.
Okay, well played anyways.
Thank you. Sometimes I just walk right into glory, you know what I mean?
Brian doesn't look like he's going to be walking anywhere.
Yeah, this is too bad here. Sometimes this happens and is the risk of 3 colors, and you have to accept that when you build your deck too, that you're going to lose some games to mana.
Right, and I was talking about it earlier. He's running 4 island, 6 swamp, 8 plains, so he's obviously taking some amount of risk by running, a full split of lands like this.
There's a Mammoth Spider from Ben. Still no black mana for BBD. Mammoth Spider, kind of a callback to Giant Spider, but a little bigger.
So I wonder if Ben wants the Wind Grace Acolyte for the 3/2 flyer over the Teshar, the 2/2 flyer. Now the thing is, so if he gets the Teshar back, Ben can then right, exactly, sack his Spore Crown Thallid that has the Deep Freeze on it, and then bring it back with any historic spell. So
I like that. I hope that's what happens.
Yeah. Pretty nice amount of value there. Either way, I mean, you can't go wrong here.
No, you can't. He's going to get back the Wind Grace Acolyte. Cat Warrior.
Yeah, it's funny. You don't look at that card art and think, hey, that's a cat.
No.
But Lord of Wind Grace of old.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And he was a cat?
I believe so.
Oh.
There's the flavor text there. Acolytes of the Lost Lord Windgrace. Fight to keep Urborg relics out of Cabal hands.
And there's the play you mentioned. We're just going to sack that Spore Crown Thallid to draw some cards off of that Thallid Soothsayer. Llanowar Elves passes back over to Brian, who would do anything for black mana.
But he won't do that.
Thank you. Another island here. Cloud Reader Sphinx might be able to find him what he needs.
I don't see any swamps there.
They're both going to go on the bottom.
Sphinx being a great card, of course, but probably a little bit too slow here when Ben already has that active candle to just blow it up if he wants to. Or an Eviscerate.
Yeah, Eviscerate takes down the Sphinx.
And there's why he wants to develop out another creature this turn.
Wow. Deathbloom Thallid plus Thallid Soothsayer.
And another Plains for Brian. It's not going to be good enough.
All right, Brian Braun-Duin extends a hand. Ben Stark takes down that match 2-1 after a stumble on Colors of Mana for BBD. Ben Stark advancing to 5-0 here at this tournament. Excellent start for him. BBD's deck looks cool, by the way, but, you know, mana troubles are mana troubles. What are you going to do?
No, I mean, his deck ran perfectly game 1.
Yeah, I mean, more than perfectly.
Right.
That was insane.
He had perfect mana. He didn't have any blue cards that in
No.
game 1, but then in games 2 and 3, you kind of saw the results of that.
All right, well, we'll have more Magic from our feature match area here in the Pro Show right after this. Hello and welcome back to the desk. Maria Bartholdi joined by Kenji Igashira here in round 5 of Grand Prix Dallas-Fort Worth. And we have some time walk magic for you. Sam Black versus Kelvin Odom. So let's head down to our feature match area and take a look at what happened here in Game 1. Sam Black there on the left side of your screen, Kelvin on the right. Kelvin is from Dallas, actually, an engineer living here.
Okay.
Sam Black, 3 Pro Tour top 8s, 16 Grand Prix top 8s. The win in Louisville in 2016 on a team.
Not a bad resume, I'd say.
Oh, no. Sport Crown Thallid here for Kelvin, which we just saw be a total house last match. And Red Black kicking things off for Sam.
Yeah, the Thallid, not something you would totally expect to see out of the red-green deck, but obviously still a fine creature if you need it on curve and have any number of ways to produce some saplings.
Jousting Lance as well for Kelvin. And a Deathbloom Thallid for Sam. I was wondering if Sam was perhaps running a Garna, and I think I see her hiding in his hand.
Very good reason, or at least a very good red-black card if you're going to be running red-black.
Adventurous Impulse here for Kelvin. Digging, taking a look, is going to find a swamp.
Ah, so maybe he has a slimy foot in his deck.
The slimiest of feet?
Yes.
Should do something about that, Kenji. Jeez, I'm sitting right next to you.
Tough acting.
In comes the Sport Crown Thallid. Has +2/+0 on first strike.
Yeah, I love equipment like Jousting Lance, but in this scenario, if Sam just has like one removal spell, you've kind of fallen behind on development.
And in fact, there it is. Wizard's Lightning will take care of the Thallid for Kelvin.
Oh my.
What?
Kelvin actually has 2 Spore Crown Thallids and 1 Slimefoot, so.
Oh, excellent. Those two work very well together.
Yes.
I was playing online the other day, and I played somebody who is playing a Slimefoot with a Whisper.
You know what's better with
what?
Whisper?
What?
Garna. Or sorry, yeah, Garna.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah, you're right.
God, if you've never had that go off before, you can.
You haven't lived.
You haven't lived. Because then the Garna gives the Whisper haste again if you've sacrificed it and gotten it back.
You
You just get to chain.
I think Slimy's in foot for Kelvin as well, but he's going to run out that Keldon Raider.
Did he not discard a card? I don't think he rummaged.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he likes all the cards in his hand.
Wow. Knight of Malice is a play for Sam Black. Love those cards.
Very good. Not going to stop the Raider on its own as there are no white permanents on the battlefield, but something like a fungal infection could make an attack into the Knight. Not so good for Kelvin.
How do you feel if your opponent plays a Keldon Raider and then doesn't discard?
I mean, they say you should always loot, but rummaging is different, right? Because you have to ditch the card prior, so you're getting less information. And there are times when you don't want to discard a card. So
I mean, I would just be afraid. I'm like, oh my God, what's in your hand? All right, Wizard's Lightning here. From Kelvin, takes down the Knight of Malice.
And this makes sense because from Kelvin's perspective, if you attack your 4/3 into Sam's 2/2 first strike and Sam blocks,
right,
he can just let damage resolve first and then use something like a fungal infection. And then you just let your creature, because there's not a real blowout potential to use the Wizard's Lightning like that unless he had, say, Fervent Strike.
Raider able to get in, knocks Sam Black down to 10. Deathbloom Thallid hits red zone as well for Sam. Caligo Skin Witch hits the table. Kelvin's at 11, has to discard 2.
Yeah, I think the Skin Witch is probably still undervalued by a lot of people. Like
it's
2
so
mana,
good.
Yeah, 2 mana for a 1/3 is fine in the early game if you need that, stabilization, that defense. But then later on at 6 mana, getting 2 cards out of your opponent's hand, because frequently people are holding on to kicker cards or removal spells for larger threats, stuff like that.
Slimefoot is one of the discards, sadly, for Kelvin.
Oh.
Skizzix here, smash.
Wow, that's a huge hit for Kelvin. It's not quite lethal. It'll leave Sam at 1 if he opts not to block, but we might just see it jump into the 4/3.
Yep.
Still, Skizzix alone will be lethal next turn, and Kelvin does have that Jousting Lance, which, when on a Skizzix, is very gross.
Yes.
5/3 trampling first strike. Sorry, 7-3.
Yeah, 7-3.
Trampling for a strike in that case. And yeah, unless Sam has some removal here, he's going to find it very hard to win. Now, the nice thing is the Thalid jumps in front of the Raider. But otherwise, the Skizik is a huge problem. And, this is the downside of Sam being a little bit more aggressive. He thought he was racing.
Right.
But when, in fact, the Thalid maybe wanted to stay back home and block the Raider.
Ancient Animus in hand as well for Kelvin.
Actually, not a very good Ancient Animus at all. As if the creature is not a legendary, then it's just a fight effect.
And die.
Right. So Kelvin's just going through, what can red-black have for this much mana? He thinking about things like Sheevan Fire, thinking about the fungal infections, thinking about the cast downs. Stuff like Garna is probably on his mind as well.
All right, well, the Keldon Raider is going to choose to carry the Lance into battle this time around.
Interesting, okay. So he's not putting it on the Trampler, and both creatures have 3 toughness. The thing is, if it's not a removal spell that Sam has, then he has to flash the Garna in, who will get no value beyond just blocking.
There's Garna.
So Kelvin's pausing here. He does have the Animus in hand, but that doesn't actually do anything. He doesn't want to use that here. Right? What he can do is let Sam block, right? And whatever creature's blocking the Skizik, he can fight
the Raider
to the creature blocking the Skizik and go for trampling lethal. Now that runs into something like a Vicious Offering pretty hard. You could just let First Strike resolve first, of course, and that's if you do that, then it's pretty safe. I expect we might see Kelvin do that. So First Strike, kill the Thalid. Sam will get a 1/1 token. And then Kelvin uses the Animus to fight. Looks like he's doing this prior to First Strike, though, so this is more of a blowout potential in Sam's favor if he does have anything. But, of course, if not, then Kelvin will just win it there. So.
All right, so Kelvin takes down the first game versus Sam Black here in round 5.
And I think that's something I see a lot of players make. They don't let first, like say, for instance, you have a Danitha. You should always, let the First Strike damage resolve first. In Danitha's case, he would gain 2 extra life if your creature's going to die anyway. Or in Kelvin's position in last game, he would have eaten the Thalid before Sam had a chance to do anything else.
Sam Black here playing a Knight of Malice on turn 2. Not a much better play in the book. A Squee for Kelvin Odom. Hi, Squee. So immortal.
This makes sense not to really block in the early game. There's no reason to. Your life's a resource. Maybe you can get in for 2 damage with the Squee anyways, depending on what Sam does here.
Kelvin down to 18. Another Knight of Malice for Sam Black.
Some very good black uncommons here from Sam.
Oh, yes. Taking a look, not legendary. Something strange that I saw happen with On Sarah's Wings was it was put on a knight token, I want to say.
Okay.
And became
a legendary
knight, and then it died because there was another. I can't remember exactly.
It does make the creature legendary. So if you have 2 On Sarah's Wings, and they're legendary enchantments themselves, you will have to sacrifice. It's the same thing with In Bolas's Clutches. You can't have 2 clutches on the battlefield without one of them getting sacrificed.
Rampaging Cyclops down for Kelvin. And a Siege Gang Commander is a pretty nice one.
Yikes, and we were talking about this earlier, Squee with Siege Gang Commander. As long as you have 3 red and 2 others, you can just continuously sack Squee for 2 damage. And that's pretty darn good when Sam has nothing but 2 toughness creatures on the other side. So Sam's going to need a removal spell for the Siege Gang ASAP.
It's so brutal, too. You're like, Squee, look, we're going to kill you like 5 times. Just deal with it, buddy. Yeah. It's for the greater good.
Wow, and Sam just has to pass. And that's a good sign for Kelvin.
Oh, yeah.
If Sam had a removal spell for the Siege Gang, he would have used it right then when Kelvin was tapped out. So now if Kelvin finds a mountain, and he does have it in hand,
all right,
he can start just systematically taking care of every one of Sam's creatures.
Wow.
Yeah.
So powerful.
That is brutal.
And some good stuff in hand, too, for Kelvin. He also has a Song of Freyalise.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh my. Wait. So with the song, he's going to be able to tap all of his tokens as well for the mana. So he might be able to activate Siege Gang twice in this turn. Like, Song of Freyalise, use Siege Gang, sack Squee, tapping Squee itself for mana, kill one of your knights, play the Squee again, right?
Yep.
And then you can sack it again, I believe. Let's see. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he'll have 10 mana. Holy moly.
Do it. Do it.
He can play the song, sack the Squee, replay the Squee, sack the Squee. Not to mention, the Song of Freyalise is just amazing with this many creatures anyways.
Oh, yeah.
Holy moly.
All right, well, we're going to go take a simpler approach here.
Sure.
And there is the sack of a Squee to kill the
Is that a
Knight of
Multani in his
Malice.
hand? No way.
Is it?
That looked like a Multani to me.
I thought I saw an Icy Manipulator.
It is. What is his deck?
Gross.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read some cards from Kelvin's deck here. And
yep, sure enough, it is.
yeah, so he has an Icy Manipulator, a Song of Freyalise, a Multani. Those are just in hand. He has the Siege Gang Commander on the battlefield to go along with the Squee that we see in the graveyard. He has a Wizard's Lightning, which I believe we saw in Game 1, a Varric's Bladewing.
Wow.
Goblin Barrage. Oh my. Ugh. Okay.
All right, and here's a Song of Freyalise.
That is quite the powerful position to be in. Yeah, and he might just recast the Squee this turn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's going to hold up the mana maybe instead from the Siege Gang Commander. Either way.
We were talking about Multani as well earlier. We're just like, do you have Blessed Light?
Yeah.
Fire Elemental. Go. Wow.
We're seeing some different card qualities here.
Hey, well, you got to work with what you open.
Sure. All right, again, Kelvin with access to 10 mana currently.
Cast, squeeze, sack, squee.
Multani. I see.
I mean, look, these are all great options.
So this is the turn where he probably wants to just get some more creatures on the battlefield. I wouldn't be surprised to see Multani plus Squee, just to set up for the Song of Freyalise Ultimate.
I'm taking a peek at Sam Black's hand to see if I can find anything that can deal with what's happening on the other side of the table, but I don't think I see anything.
Yeah, it all depends on how Kelvin wants to do this. Like, he could also just cast Squee, sack Squee, cast Squee, sack Squee, right?
Right.
1, 2. Yeah, and kill the Fire Elemental if he wanted to.
Oh, such value. If you all came here to see the value train.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you wouldn't just jam the Multani, but I guess getting the value here while you have mana. I mean, he could have made this play last turn, right?
He could have, yeah.
Of shooting Squee and recasting Squee already. But it looks like he's just going to shoot now. I mean, that means he's going to sack another to kill the Fire Elemental. As they say, there's no wrong way to eat this, Reese's.
No. And there we go. We see the double Squee sack there. And the Cyclops is able to attack in as well for 4.
Rumble in.
How do you like that Cyclops, Kenji?
It's solid. It's good. You know, a 4/4 for 4 mana is pretty decent in this format. Obviously, there are some scenarios where you might not want it, especially if the opponent has a go-wide strategy. But, I mean, it's easy to cast. It's only 1 red pip, right?
Right.
And it does hold off quite a few creatures in this format. All right, so after untap and into his main phase, Kelvin's going to have a 5/5, a 3/3, a 2/2, and a 2/2. And the thing about Song of Freyalise is it doesn't really give much of gameplay thought, right? When you sacrifice it, it's just giving, oh, hey, my creatures are going to have Vigilance, Trample, Indestructible. Oh, yeah, and they have a +1/+1 counter, so attacking is a total free roll.
Sam Black's life currently at 12.
Yeah, I think Kelvin's pretty close to just winning this turn with the Icy in hand. It's not quite going to be lethal, but it's pretty darn close.
All right, here we go. Icy Manipulator. Tap down your best blocker.
I mean, he doesn't even need to tap down if he doesn't want to, but tapping down the Guardian means that Sam's going to lose the Thallid no matter what happens here.
Gets back Squee.
All right, send him in, Kelvin.
Hands on the table. Turn them all sideways at the same time.
They don't even tap.
Oh, you're right.
They got Vigilance
Just
too.
push them.
Yep.
All right, yeah, we are going to tap down that Guardian with the Icy Manipulator. Everybody. No drawback whatsoever. And attack.
Oh, so these don't gain the mana ability. He can't actually do that.
No.
First 2 times that was right. All right, so Sam's going to take 7 damage, fall down to 5, get the Saproling from the Thallid dying. But he's just going to be dead on board to the Siege Gang Commander on Kelvin's next untap.
Right. Yeah, Sam Black extends a hand there. Kelvin Odom wins 2-0 here in round 5. Well, that was first of our time walk matches down there from our feature match area in the pro show. That was some pretty impressive stuff there from Kelvin Odom. Deck seemed really sweet. And you know what? We've seen a lot of really sweet decks on camera. Like, you know, sometimes when you're watching Sealed, the decks, you're like, oh, well, that was put together well and well played. But we're seeing some really unique and innovative stuff. Earlier today, we saw Sam Eilenfeld's Mishra's Self-Replicator deck. That was able to make a ton of Mishra's Self-Replicator replicants. Not really sure, but it was really, really unique and pretty neat to watch a historic build there. So let's head down and watch our other time walk match. This one is going to be Matt Severa versus Ray Wong.
Yes, the good old turn 1 Llanowar Elf. The thing you most want and the thing you most not want to see.
Yeah. Opt here from Ray.
Okay, and this is main phase, meaning he might be looking for something to do on turn 2.
Ooh, did he mulligan hard this game?
Oh, is that just 2 cards in his hand?
Looks like it.
Ah, okay. That makes a lot more sense now.
Well, Llanowar Elves is pretty good to have when you've mulliganed down that far.
Sure. But now Matt's going to know that removal here is, prime.
Sure.
Trading 1 for 1 when your opponent is down that many cards is pretty darn good.
Baloth Gorger here from Ray. It's got to be happy enough with that after that brutal mulligan.
Yeah, that's a really good turn 3 play.
Knight of New Benalia and a Knight of Malice currently in play for Severa. Knight of Malice getting that +1/+0 thanks to that Knight of New Benalia.
I don't think you can really play a long game if you're Ray. He's probably just, do you have a fungal infection? Do you have a Rite of Bells and Lock? Or sorry, not Rite of Bells and Lock. The
oh, that's the Saga. The Blessing.
The Blessing of Bells and Lock. Thank you. The combat trick.
Gilded Lotus here for Ray. So managed to find enough mana to do everything that he wants to do, but. And there's Eviscerate.
Yeah, again, on a mulligan to 4 or 5, whatever Ray is on, it's just so much more backbreaking to get 1 for 1.
Ray Wong from Madison had a GP top 8 in Minneapolis last year.
Ah, is that Zahid?
Ooh, it is a foil Zahid, I think. Yeah.
Certainly looks like it.
Pegasus Courser here from Severa. And another Knight of New Benalia.
Yeah, those Knights not so good versus the Llanowar Elves, but with the Pegasus I can see them, potentially getting through in the air. The Zahid's going to have to pull his overtime work here for Ray.
I love the Pegasus
flooded now.
Courser normally.
Yep, I think it's one of the stronger white commons, but overall, white has basically the most playables of any color.
All right, the eldest reborn here from Ray.
Okay. That's a nice way to get back into the game, because in the long term, that's a 3-4 run, right?
Sure.
You get a creature immediately when it enters. You get them to discard a card if they still have a card in hand on the next turn, and then a creature back from the graveyard. So that's a great card to get out of a mulligan like this.
And I mean, Ray is actually doing a superb job of pulling himself out of this, too.
Yeah, the Eviscerate was maybe fired off a little bit early by Matt, but I mean, a 4-4 is still very good versus Matt's board anyways.
Too.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense that he would have used it there.
Sarah Angel here from Severa.
Ooh, gets a mountain out of Matt's hand. And so if Ray can find like a Ancient Animus here to fight the Sarah Angel, or just some removal spell, you know, he'd be able to get the Sarah with the Eldest Reborn. He could still draw, say, Cast Down.
Yes.
Cast it before the Eldest Reborn triggers. Unfortunately not, though. He'll have to settle for a 4 for it. Darn.
The Baloth Gorger comes on back.
You know, he's stabilized very well. That Memorial to Folly means that if Matt doesn't have an exile effect to get rid of Zahid, that Ray would be able to bring it back on the next turn. Ah, the candle.
Blood Tallow Candle from Matt Severin. We've seen that card quite a bit this weekend already.
Yeah, so by itself, again, we've talked about this before, doesn't kill the 5/6 flyer, but, you know, this does allow Matt to attack in next turn and potentially cause some problems for Ray.
Is that another Gorger in hand for Ray, potentially? Yeah, the candle just, you know, just gets to sit there later in the game, threatening to be activated. Do we know what Severa's red splash is for?
Let's take a look.
Fight with fire. That's my guess.
Garna the Blood Flame.
Even though that would be a bad splash.
Garna, Sheevan Fire, and Fiery Intervention. Okay, so he has a few cards.
Okay. And there was a fungal infection off of that attack from the Baloth Gorger. Knight of Malice able to block and be just fine.
Yeah, with so many flyers, though, Matt's going to probably take this game. It's going to be a little bit slow. He can push in a ton of damage this turn. Attack with, say, the Sarah Angel, the Pegasus, and, say, give the 3/1 flying. Although, I guess Ray would be able to use the Folly immediately and play the Zahid immediately after that as well, so looks like he's just opting to take the longer route.
Yeah, Ray continues to be a little bit flooded this game, despite taking a pretty brutal mulligan right off the bat.
Oh, wait. He doesn't have his 6th land. That's why Matt can't actually make that play. Yeah, but Ray, with just drawing lands, is not going to be able to do much either.
Wow, both of the knights. The full set. Knight of Grace.
That means he has 6 power of First Strike. It's going to make it hard for any ground creature to get through. Now, a 7/7 does do that pretty well, but...
See if Ray is able to draw some action here. All the mana in the world at his disposal.
That's a nice one.
Oh, excellent. Territorial Allosaurus here from Ray Wong.
What's up, Sarah?
Kicked. Let's fight. Takes down Sarah Angel in the battle.
Okay, and just like that, I think Ray is
a
little bit ahead in this game. He's by far got the largest creatures. One of them has flying. Fungal Infection's fine there, but, I mean...
I was wondering. I was like, no fungal infection.
The Sarah still hit the bin.
Another Pegasus courser here for Severa. Pass the turn back over to Ray Wong.
Now he gets to bring back his fight dino with that Memorial to Folly that's been chilling on the battlefield. Memorial was presumably sitting or chilling there and not getting back the Gorger because, you know, if Zahid was to hit the graveyard, he'd really want to bring that back. But, I mean, bringing back the Allosaurus is obviously a huge deal, too.
I love it. Are you just going to eat? What are you going to eat? One of the coursers?
Yeah, the coursers are probably the most problematic. They're the thing that can make you lose the quickest. The problem being that the two knights are still going to stop the 5/5 from, you know, attacking in. So Ray has to decide when he wants to turn on the gas. And let's see. Say he does kill a flyer here.
Well, he's just going to rumble in first here.
He would still take 4 on the crackback. That's not a winning race. Yeah, but you might as well Abyss Matt. Start it going until he finds his 6 mana.
All right, here we go. Allosaurus is back, and it is hungry. Down goes a Pegasus Courser. And oh, yeah, I have a 5/5.
Yeah, Allosaurus doesn't care what it eats, angels or coursers.
No discretion there from the Dino Boy.
Candle is now a factor.
6 lands.
Yep.
Finally here for Severa. Yeah, and it looks like contemplating an attack with the Courser and the Knight. Although if you lose your Courser,
right,
nobody's flying anymore.
Candle does take away Zahid's full power. So Matt knows that attacking with the 3/1 is not terrible if he wants to use the Candle on the flyer. And so Ray's got to think now, okay, is this relevant? Do I want to trade my Zahid for some damage and the Candle right now? Or some life, rather, and the Candle right now?
Taking a read of that Blood Tallow Candle.
The thing is, getting the Candle off the battlefield also lets his Gorger continue to get in. Otherwise, you know, the Candle could be used on the Gorger, and the first strikers would be able to profitably block it. But I mean, this is hit for 4. He can also just take the hit, right?
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate that Matt did have a follow-up play.
Pardic Wanderer here, 5/5 Trampler from Matt.
Yeah, and now that Pardic Wanderer is going to be the one that's getting the Pegasus jump, so that clock is now a turn faster for Matt.
Ray Wong down to 10. Matt Severa still pretty comfortable at 19. Yeah, some big decisions for both players on either side of the battlefield so far this match. Still in game 1 here. We are in round 5. Playing sealed deck here in Texas.
Ooh, I think that was an Eviscerate.
Whoa, it was! Down goes the Pegasus Courser.
And yeah, we just see the power of the Pegasus, you know? It's, like I said,
so good.
I think it's one of the best white commons. It just allows you to keep pressuring the opponent. The 3 toughness is largely relevant as it fades some burn, some some removal, and lets it attack into opposing 2 power flyers.
All right, so now Ray here has to contemplate if he wants to start attacking or if he wants to still hang back based on that 5/5 sitting across the table and the activation of the Candle. Just decides to pass the turn back to Matt Severa, who plays another Knight of New Benalia. Back over to Ray.
Uh-oh.
Let's find some adventure.
Dun, dun, dun.
Just picks up an island.
Should hold that in his hand. It looks like he has a Tatiova in his deck list.
Ooh.
So probably doesn't want to run out every single one of his lands right now.
I want to say his last card is an Unwind.
Okay. Didn't quite catch a glimpse of it, but yeah.
Oh, he has 2. He has 2.
Two unwinds?
No, an island.
2 cards.
Yeah, 2 cards. All right, no attack there from Severa. Back over to Ray. Who has managed to get himself into this game.
I think that was a planeswalker that
I
Ray
wanted
might have
to
just
say
drawn.
I wanted to say that was Karn, but I didn't want to say because I wasn't sure. Will the Karn father be joining us? The saddest robot of them all. There he is. Karn hits the table for Ray Wong.
Oh, I don't think he's the saddest robot anymore.
No, he's in quite a good mood right now.
Yes.
Here we go.
And I think he just made a golem token.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Sure enough.
So it's actually going to be at 2/2 because of the Gilded Lotus. And he's doing this just to protect the Karn, I think. Otherwise, Matt could make some kind of attack and get in.
I wonder if Matt's running charge in his deck.
I can't imagine Matt is, but I'll take a look here anyways. No, he's not.
Okay.
You really need a specific deck for charge to make any significant difference.
Green, white, probably.
I mean, it looks like it would be fine on this board, but of course, I'm not sure this is entirely...
Wow, Matt drew it up.
Yeah. All right, and that's great for Ray. He gets to untap with Karn activation again.
Opt in hand.
Sure.
Let's do it. Divination.
Okay, why not?
Wow, Ray is really doing it here. Nothing but lands in hand, but that's all right. We've got a Karn. A lot of patience here from Ray as well, notably.
Yeah, he's definitely undid his mulligan. I'm interested to see if he just makes another golem here with Karn.
And he does.
Okay.
Back over to Matt.
Finally cashes in the candle.
Down goes the dinosaur. And an eviscerate in hand for Severa. Oh, and there's Unwind from Ray, and untap those lands.
Not entirely relevant, but hey.
And a cast down.
Okay, that's pretty
Okay,
good. So
wow.
Matt was just holding on to a ton of removal spells there. And this is the turn that we're going to see Matt do the combat math, see if he can push through enough.
Ray is at 10. Each of those golems are 3/3s. Wow, imagine if that eviscerate had stuck on that Zahid. Matt Severa turns them all sideways.
And Ray knows that Matt's tapped out, so he can just make the best blocks that he can possible without fear of a trick or another removal spell like that. Those Knight of Grace and Knight of
super good
Malice,
right now.
though, are just so brutal.
These blocks would leave Ray taking 8. Severa's still at 19.
All right, so the smallest that Ray's golems are going to be are basically 2/2s because of the Gilded Lotus, unless that leaves the battlefield somehow. So he's going to lose one of the golems, but not the other because it was only blocking a 1-power creature, correct?
Yep. All right, Ray drops down to 2.
And I like this attack from Matt. He's not going for Karn because if Ray pluses on Karn, there's a very high chance that he just reveals a land in something else, and he'll just give Ray the land.
Yep. In Bull's clutches there.
So it's on Ray to find something here, and then Matt can always find another removal spell.
Tetsuko.
Okay,
Umezawa
off the top, let's see if you can
Fugitive.
find something, because any removal spell would threaten lethal. Right now, Ray does have enough blockers.
Would leave him at 1.
Yep.
Taking a look through Matt Severa's graveyard, yes, indeed, there are about 70 removal spells in there.
Yeah, I'm not even sure Matt wants to attack here. He would lose one of his knights.
Right.
He would get to eat one of Ray's other creatures, and then he would lose one of his 1/1s as well. It's tough, though, because if you just let Karn sit on the battlefield, you're just going to get drowned in card advantage over the long game.
And that clutch is sitting under Karn, too.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so it looks like Matt Severa has agreed with that line, is going to swing them all in.
So it just depends on if Ray values the artifact or the Tetsuko more.
All right, those are the blocks. Let's go to damage. Down goes a knight. Down goes a silver token. Excuse me, golem. Ray goes to 1.
That was a very good draw. Matt found basically 2 creatures here.
Nice. Call the cavalry.
All right, but Ray can still survive. He gets back the Bolas's clutches and takes one of the knights. He has to take one of the knights, as if he doesn't take an untapped creature, then he would just be dead again. Small thing from Ray, though. I think he probably wanted to kill the Saproling instead of the 1/1 soldier token, just because there are synergies with Saprolings that could be relevant later in the game. But either way, one of the 1/1s was dying there. Oh, and a Blessed Light off the top.
Wow.
All right, I mean, this is exactly what Matt needed to happen.
Right.
Right?
And, yep, just swing on, and Matt Severa taking game 1 there versus Ray Wong. But props to Ray. He really battled back through that brutal mulligan.
Right. I mean, Matt drew it up exactly how he needed to. He turned on the gas when, even though he would be losing some amount of creatures, he needed to pressure Ray before the Karn could get entirely out of hand. And then he needed to draw basically runner spell, and he did. So.
Yeah. Who won? All right, so it's me asking Rashad who won that match. It ended up being Matt Severa. Welcome back to the booth. Maria and Kenji here with you. You might hear behind us that pairings are up for round 6. So we'll be back with more Magic from round 6 after this.